Have you ever wondered what women really fear? No, it's not what you think. Every man believes that women fear loneliness or rejection or infidelity, but there is a much deeper fear, one that we'll never say out loud. And once you understand it, you will never see female behavior in the same way. Stop a second and think about it. If you ask the average man what women fear most, we'll say to be deceived, be abandoned, not be loved. And of course, those fears exist, but they are superficial. They are symptoms, not the disease. If this thought already made you reflect for a second, give it like right now. Because what I am going to reveal today could transform your way of understanding relationships forever. We are going to immerse ourselves in the depths of female psychology, in that place where the fears that they do not dare to confess, the real fear that women rarely admit, even before their own, is deeper, primary, biological. It is the type of fear that hides behind each relationship, each publication on Instagram, every couple's choice, every insecurity at night. It's not about love. It is not even treason. This is survival. But before unraveling this, we face a dangerous myth. Men love to believe that women are like us. They think like us. They want as us. Fear like us. This is one of the biggest mistakes that a man can make in life and love. Men fear failure. Men fear weakness. Men fear being disrespected or replaced by stronger men. That is our nightmare. But women, their nightmare looks completely different. And this is where it becomes controversial. Throughout history, the survival of a man depended on his strength, his honor, his ability to protect or produce. A weak man could die of hunger, be conquered or enslaved. But a woman, even if she was weak, could still survive if she managed to ensure the protection of a stronger man. That brutal reality has been programmed in female psychology for thousands of years. It is tacit programming behind why women fight more for attention than for truth, why validation means more than logic, why the fear of being replaced so deep. Because when a man is deceived, his world collapses for shame, for humiliation, for losing respect. But when a woman is deceived, the wound is different. He says, "You are obsolete. You no longer have value. You are being replaced." That is why infidelity is devastating, not only for betrayal, but because it exposes central fear, irrelevance. And once you realize this, suddenly the behavior of women makes sense. The constant search for validation, the obsession with youth and beauty, panic at 30, hidden behind the bravery at 25, the evidence that launches men, drama, contradictions. What seems manipulation often is only strategy born of fear. What seems irrationality is often survival instinct, and what seems likely to be panic disguised as empowerment. The truth, my brothers, is this. Under all the myths of female fear lies a terrifying reality, the fear of becoming invisible. Each woman feels this fear by clicking inside when she looks at the mirror and sees the first wrinkle, when she notes that the eyes of the men no longer follow her on the street as before, when her phone stops sounding with the same frequency. It is not vanity what you see. It is existential terror disguised as superficial concerns. This primitive fear is the one that drives behaviors that men misunderstand as whims or manipulation. Each filter on Instagram, each test in a relationship, every search for a better man, everything is reduced to a single question whispered from the depths of his biology. I still be relevant? I still matter? Or am I becoming invisible? All men have heard the phrase, the biological clock is running. But most think it is only fertility, whether a woman can have children after a certain age. That is just the surface. The real truth is much darker and explains more about modern female behavior than anything else. Because here is reality. Biology does not negotiate, and regardless of what society predicts about equality, empowerment, or liberation, the human body has not updated its programming in 100,000 years. A man can increase his value with age. It can be broken at 20, fighting at 30, and yet at 40. If you build wealth, power, and purpose, you can come walk more respect and attraction than ever. Its value is composed with time, but a woman, her value in the sex market is loaded in advance. Youth, beauty, and fertility give it immense power at the beginning of life, but that power reaches its maximum point and then declines. And here is the brutal part. She knows it. I may not admit it. It can be distracted by professional empowerment slogans or endless likes on Instagram. But deep down, each woman feels the attraction of that clock that ticks and terrifies her. Because the greatest fear of women is not loneliness. It is not rejection. It is not even betrayal. It is to become irrelevant. It is to get old out of the game. It is to see how the same attention that once commanded fades overnight. It is the fear of being invisible to men, for society, even for itself. That is why you see 35-year-old women freezing eggs, not because they want children now, but because biology whispers in their ear. That is why the most released women continue to yearn for validation, publishing selfies long after the age when men stop noticing them. That is why medium-age panic hits so brutally. It's not about aging. It's about disappearing. And here is the controversial truth that most men never say aloud. Society lied to women. Feminism told them that they could postpone the family, postpone the commitment, postpone the children, pursue the race, have fun. You can have everything. But biology does not care about the TED Talks or the empowerment hashtags. Biology does not bend before politics. And when the deadline of biology approaches, fear intensifies. That fear explains why women pursue hypergamy, always looking for man better. It is not greed, it is safe. If your power is decreasing, you want the strongest security you can ensure, while you can still. Men look at this and get angry. They call it manipulator. They call it fortunes. But once you understand the clock, you see it for what it is: survival instinct, despair hidden behind the lipstick, fear disguised as independence. And here is the key: no matter how much society tries to erase it, this fear does not disappear. Because the biological clock is not just about babies. It is about power, relevance, and survival. And that fear, the fear of becoming invisible, molds everything that comes next. When a woman chooses between two men, she is not simply choosing who she loves more. He is calculating who offers him the best protection against the approximate irrelevance. When he changed his mind about a man who loved before, he is not whim. It is the clock that sounds stronger, telling him that he cannot afford to waste more time. This clock explains why women seem to contradict themselves constantly, saying that they want a good guy, but choosing the one who treats them indifferently. The good guy can offer love, but the man who does not flinch before his beauty offers something more valuable, proof that his value transcends the physical, which will continue to see it even when the clock has finished his countdown. During the last 60 years, society has been feeding women with a story. You can have everything. Go to school, scale the corporate ladder, accumulate experiences, couples and empowerment slogans. Marriage is optional, the family is optional, maternity can wait. And men are accessories. Nice to have, but not necessary. Sounds liberating. It sounds progressive. But here is the hard truth. It is a lie. And deep down, most women know it. Because biology does not negotiate. Biology does not care of hashtags or graduation certificates. A woman can be the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, but her ovules continue to get older as scheduled. You can fill your 20 with trips, casual meetings, and professional movements. But by the time looking up in its 30, the clock has been ticking all the time, and that is when fear is installed. Why do you think we are seeing an explosion of anxiety, depression, and dissatisfaction among modern women? Studies show that women are more unhappy today than in the 1950s, although they have more freedom than ever. How is that possible? Because society told them to ignore their nature. He told them that pursuing status and independence would satisfy them, but nature is relentless. The female psyche has always been linked to reproduction, validation, and relevance in the sex market. And when that clashes with modern lies, the result is panic. That is why you see 35-year-old women in appointment applications insisting that they are strong and independent, but secretly desperate for the commitment. That is why empowered women continue to flood Instagram with provocative photos. That's why phrases like "where have all good men gone?" They are trend between women in their 30s. They told them they had time. They don't have it. And this is where it becomes controversial. The men also bought the lie. Men were told, let women live as they want. Everything will work. Equality will bring harmony. But instead, what we got was chaos. Women following a script that biology will never respect. Men biting because the rules changed in real time. It's like telling a soldier who can win a war ignoring gravity. You can believe it until you fall from a cliff. Modern lies cannot cancel ancient truths. And the ancient truth is this: women have always taken advantage of youth and beauty to obtain security, and men have always taken advantage of the strength and purpose to obtain respect. When women change their youth due to empowerment, and men change their purpose for comfort, they both lose, and civilizations collapse with them. The bitter irony: women were promised, but many end up chained anyway. Chained to corporate work they hate. Chained to the beauty that fades. Chained to regrets about the family they never built. That is why fear runs so deep. It is not just the biological clock by ticking. It is the realization that the modern script was a scam, and the invoice always arrives. When you listen to successful 40-year-old women regret that they can't find a good man, what they are really saying is, I followed the script they told me to continue, and now I realize that they sold me an illusion. Every year that passes, every birthday they celebrate, every friend who marries or has children, while they continue to chase the illusion of having everything, makes fear grow. It is not just the fear of not having children. It is the deepest fear of having irreversibly exchanged its years of greater biological value for achievements that, in the end, do not satisfy the ancestral hunger of meaning that comes with the creation of a family. We have talked about the biological clock. We have talked about the lies that society sells. But now, let's land it. How do you really manifest this fear in women's life? Because once you detect it, you will realize that it is everywhere. Look at the obsession with validation. Why do women flood Instagram with selfies? Why do likes, comments, and endless attention? Men call him vanity. But it is not vanity, it is safe. Each like is a data point. I'm still relevant. They still see me. I'm not invisible yet. Think of the endless makeup tutorials, the obsession with the filters, the fear of publishing a photo without editing. Is it beauty, or is it about demonstrating themselves that they have not yet disappeared from the market? Now look at hypergamy, the impulse of women for exchanging for a stronger, richer, greater status man. Men are often enraged against this, calling it superficial or greedy. But if you remove the layers, what you see is fear. Fear that the man with whom he is will not secure his future. Fear that your best years are escaping and have to charge with the best possible treatment before the window is closed. Hypergamy is not cruelty. This is the survival instinct sharp by panic. Now consider the tests. All men hate them. The little punctures, the challenges, the evidence that women throw to men in relationships. Most men think it is meaningless drama, but it is not drama. It is measurement. Each test is her asking, are you strong enough to handle me? Are you confident enough to protect me? Or are you just another weak man that I will overcome? It is not malice. It is fear disguised as strategy. Because if you fail the test, she knows she is wasting her time. And time is the only thing that your biology will not return you. Even female emotional volatility makes sense through this lens. A moment is happy, the next is panic, angry, crying. Men see chaos. But what you are really seeing is an operating system designed to adapt to all costs. His emotions are weapons pushing, pulling, adjusting to stay safe while their value is still at stake. That is why women panic more than 30 than at 20. That is why they redouble validation, why they press stronger in relationships, why they ascend even when they say they are happy. Because below everything there is a constant whisper, do not disappear, do not become invisible, not yet. And here is the part that hits stronger. The men confuse all this with manipulation, cruelty, or immaturity. But it is none of those. It is survival. It is fear. It is the clock by ticking at the bottom of each decision. Once you see it, you can't stop seeing it. The search for validation, tests, hypergamy, everything is the same fear. The fear of irrelevance. When a woman obsessively checks her phone to see who has commented on her last photo, you are not seeing addiction to social networks. You are seeing someone checking their market value, making sure that it has not yet disappeared. When a woman who has said she does not want children to panic at 35 and begins to talk about fertility, she is not a change of sudden opinion. It is the biological reality finally breaking through social illusion. And when women become obsessed with high-value couples, it is not materialism. It is his biology whispering, time is running out. Be sure or risk being left with nothing. Here is the problem. Men completely misunderstand women. We project our own fears, our own psychology on them. We assume that they are concerned about what worries us. Respect, legacy, honor, be replaced by stronger men. But that is our fear, not theirs. And when someone misinterprets the fear of someone, misunderstands everything they do. Men see the obsession of women with attention as childish. Men see hypergamy as betrayal. Men see evidence as drama. And since they do not understand the hidden fear that promotes all this, they are bitter. They relieve themselves. They call manipulative, hypergamic, or broken women. But here is the truth that most men do not want to admit. Women are not broken. Men are blind. This blind spot is the reason why men lose in the modern appointment game. They enter thinking that women want love in the way men want respect. They think that buying flowers, being friendly, and offering loyalty will satisfy your deepest fear. And when they do not, they get angry. Why isn't it enough? Why don't you love me for who I am? Because love is not the problem, survival is. Let me hit you with something controversial. Women do not put you to the test because they enjoy drama. They put you to the test because they want to know if you are strong enough to prevent them from becoming invisible. Each puncture, every push, every challenge is his biology screaming, "If I join this man, will it protect me? Will I keep safe, or will I be forgotten with him?" The test fails and she feels the clock doing stronger tic-tac. Pass her and her fear calms down, at least for a while. That is why so many men bitter online, lost in forums of the black pill, shouting that women are superficial, cruel, or beyond salvation. They are not seeing the truth. They are trapped at their blind spot. Because once you understand hidden fear, you stop taking it personally. You stop complaining about female nature and you begin to see it for what it is, a survival mechanism. And here is the empowering part. Once you see it, you can choose how to answer. Most men do not. They sullen, they complain, they insult women. But strong men adapt. They recognize fear. They stop trying to fix women and begin to fix themselves. They stop asking why women are so and begin to ask, how do I become the type of man who is immune to irrelevance? Because that is the real truth that most men do not want to hear. Women's fear is irrelevance through age. The fear of men is irrelevance through weakness. Both genres are fighting the same enemy, only in different ways. And that blind spot, not seeing the difference, is why so many men lose. Instead of enraging hypergamy, strong men understand it as a force that they can use in their favor. If women are scheduled to seek strength, purpose, and security, why not become the incarnation of those values? The blind spot leads men to invest in the wrong things. Expensive gifts, emotional supplications, sacrifices that she never asked. Meanwhile, they ignore what his fear would really calm down, becoming a man whose inner strength is so undeniable that his single presence assures him that he will never become irrelevant while he is with him. This is not a manipulation game. It is to understand the true nature of fear that promotes both male and female behavior, and choose to transcend it instead of being controlled by him. We have torn the secret fear of women, the fear of irrelevance, to fade away, to become invisible as Belle Isa and youth escape. But now is the time for the toughest truth of all. Men have their own version of this fear, and most of you who are seeing are losing that battle. You will see, the battle of a woman is against time. The battle of a man is against weakness. Women lose value when their youth fades. Men lose value when they fail to rise. The clock is ruthless with women, but weakness is ruthless with men. And here is the key. If a woman arrives at 35 and panic, she can still charge if she is intelligent, strategic, or fortunate. But if a man reaches 35 without force, without discipline, without purpose, no one will come to save him. Nobody cares. He is also invisible, not because of age, but for irrelevance. Think about that. How many men do you know who are ghosts while they are still alive? Invisible at work, invisible to women, invisible to themselves, lost in pornography, video games, fast food, endless displacement. They are not even fighting. They have already left. And here is the brutal truth. The fear of women, at least, drives them to act. It makes them looking for validation. Try men, pursue security. The fear of men. Most men drowned silently. They numb it with distractions. They flee from him instead of facing him. That is why society is full of weak men. Men who never built a body worthy of respect. Men who never developed a mission. Men who never learned discipline. Men who expect loyalty, sex, and respect just by existing, and then enraged when women do not give it. But nature does not care about your feelings. Women do not care about your excuses, and history does not remember weak men. This is the hard involvement, brothers. Women fear irrelevance through age, but men fear irrelevance through failure. And irrelevance is social, sexual, spiritual death. If you don't rise, you disappear. Spot. So stop complaining about women's fears. Stop crying because there is hypergamy. Stop sullening you because she left you when you failed her tests. Instead, realize this. Women's fears are just a mirror that reflects your own. His fear of becoming invisible should wake up to your fear of becoming insignificant. That is why the solution has never been complaining about female nature. The solution has always been to master the male nature. Become disciplined, dangerous, determined, and unwavering. Become the type of man who cannot be ignored. Because here is the truth. Women can fade with age, but strong men only become more powerful. What path are you? While women fight against a clock they cannot stop, you have the opportunity to forge a force that time cannot touch. A force that makes age irrelevant. A force that not only attracts women, but commands the respect of other men and transforms the world around you. Every day you waste in weakness is a day closer to invisibility. Every day you invest in force is a day further from it. I'm not talking only about physical strength, although that matters. I am talking about the inner strength that comes from the discipline, of the purpose, of unwavering determination. The force that makes a 50-year-old man more powerful, more magnetic, and more relevant than a 25th child who has never been proven. And that leads us to the final question. What will you do with this knowledge? Because we have revealed the hidden fear of women, the fear of irrelevance, to fade in invisibility. We have exposed how your choices, your evidence, your contradictions. But now we have reached the point where the closer scalpel cuts deeper. You are not safe. Women can fear becoming invisible as youth escapes, but men become invisible when they choose weakness. You are in the maze of your own fears, facing the mirror that reflects not only who you are, but who could be. The choice you make now will determine whether you will be remembered or deleted by the relentless passage of time. Because the truth is brutal. Society does not need more weak men who complain about female nature. He needs warriors who understand primary fears and still dare to rise above them. If this message aroused something inside you, something that has been asleep, then comments, "I command without saying anything." And remember, brother, the clock is ticking. For them for time, for you by choice. What will be yours?